Hi, the internet. Welcome to the What Else Show. I'm your host, Robert. This is Bethany.
Hi, internet.
And today we've got a brand new What Else Show for you. Bethany, what else are we talking about today?
Today, we're talking about the first episode of the show Tabitha.
That's right. The first episode of the show Tabitha, Bewitched spinoff.
The Bewitched spinoff.
Aired sometime in 1977. It's unclear.
It's not clear.
It was on ABC. It starred Lisa Hartman as Tabitha. Never heard of her. And then Bethany didn't put the brother on, but the brother's there.
Oh, sorry.
Sub nobody as her brother. But she did write down Robert
Urich.
Robert Urich, who plays like Paul. He's a guy in the show. And then I don't care about anybody else. You care about anybody else in the show?
Barry Van Dyke.
Barry Van Dyke.
Van Dyke was in it. Barry Van Dyke. Yeah.
He's a Van Dyke, so you got to mention him.
And he played a character named Roger.
Tell me your history with the episode, with the show, and then tell me what you thought of it.
Zero history with the show. Did not know the show even existed.
I knew Bewitched. I did not know this show existed.
Yeah. Bewitched. Definitely watched Bewitched on Nick at Night.
Bewitched is like a classic.
My gosh. Yeah. Loved Bewitched. And then found out there was a spinoff. So we were like, we should watch the first episode of the spinoff.
Yeah.
That's where we are.
That's where we are.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I had no idea that the show existed. I've seen Bewitched when it was in black and white, when it was in color.
Yep.
I don't remember much about it.
They changed out the Darrens.
They changed out the Darrens.
Yep.
Yeah.
They
but I
changed
had never heard of this show.
Yeah.
I knew that they had a daughter in the show, Tabitha.
Mm-hmm. Tabitha's the daughter.
I didn't know they had a son in the show. I don't remember if they had a son in the show or they just added that for this show. But I don't think that's something they would do, right? They wouldn't just add a brother.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
I don't know. We're going to have to watch Bewitched. And
We're going to watch Bewitched now.
We're going to have to watch the whole series until they get it.
To figure out if there's a brother named Adam on the show.
Yeah. All right. Well, what did you think of this first episode?
It was not good.
The show is awful.
The show was not good. And they only aired 12 episodes. They only aired 12 episodes. So it ran from like May or September, it's not clear, to January of 78.
Yeah.
And so like that's a really short amount of time. They canceled it and I could see why. It wasn't good. The writing wasn't good.
Never to be heard
the
from
jokes
again.
weren't good. The laugh track had weird timing.
To be fair, we only watched the first episode. It could have got much better. Or much worse.
Or much worse. Yeah. But I mean, even people in 1977 were like, we don't like this.
I guess that's the thing about these old television shows that I've noticed is that the classics are classic for a reason. Even in that first episode, a lot of these classic shows just hit right on the first episode. Like, this is already a good show.
Like Three's Company.
Like Frasier, like Cheer.
Yes.
Yeah. Those all hit on the first episode.
Yeah. And I was watching this episode and the story doesn't make sense. The plot doesn't make sense. It was very weird.
Yeah.
Not a good show.
Not a good show. It's not a good show on any level. The acting, the humor, I guess the humor is the writing.
The writing. Yeah. Not good writing. Yeah, it doesn't hold up. And there's a few different reasons why it doesn't hold up.
Well, let's start the recap.
Let's do the recap.
We can't just keep trashing this show.
Right.
Obviously, it's a bad show. Nobody's ever heard of it.
Nobody's ever heard of it. Yeah. And, I was kind of looking forward to it. And okay, so the show starts and you have narration kind of telling the story.
You know what?
Whoops. Ow.
I kind of like the narration.
I kind of liked the narration too.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, there was a typical little American girl.
Because I was like, at the beginning, I'm like, oh, this is really cute because they had like a little storybook and they had child-drawn pictures of Samantha and Darren and little Tabitha. And it was really cute. And then they like kind of showed Tabitha growing up. So they showed pictures of the Tabitha character from Bewitched, and I remember that little girl, and I thought she was so cute on Bewitched. So they show her like growing up into a young woman. They just show a progression of her growing up,
right?
And yeah, so that's kind of the opening credits, and the
Well, that's before the opening credits, and then they have a short opening credit that just kind of has like a little bit of a theme song,
right? A little bit of a theme song.
funky disco theme song, real
Yeah.
short, and then that's when the episode starts.
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
So when the show opens, we see that Tabitha works. I mean, we don't know that she works there, but she works at a television station.
Yes.
Yeah. She's driving to work, and somebody is parked in her spot,
Yes.
her parking spot.
Yes. It has her name on it. It's
Right.
clearly hers.
Clearly.
It has her name. And she's just like, ah.
So she uses her powers to move that car out of her spot so she can pull in.
Yes.
And then her brother Adam shows up, and he's like, "Hey, I saw that." And he's like, "Don't be using your powers. I had to pull a lot of strings to get you this job."
Did you know that was her brother when he walked up to her? I thought
Yeah.
you knew that.
I didn't know it, but I think she said, "Hey, brother," like that. As soon as
Oh,
soon as
did she?
I think so.
Morning, brother.
Oh, I missed that. I
Yeah,
missed
you
that.
must have.
I must have missed that because when he was like, I saw that, I was like, oh no.
She's caught right in the
Some
beginning.
rando saw her doing magic, and this is where the episode is going. You know, I thought maybe the whole episode was going to be about her trying to, get out of being caught doing
Yeah,
magic.
She's gonna have to blind him or make people think he's crazy.
but it was her brother, Adam, apparently.
yeah,
that
I think as soon as she gets out of her car,
I
she
didn't
goes,
hear that.
"Hi, brother," like that, and it's really stupid because who addresses
Who
their
does
siblings
that?
like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a thing they do in television
God.
movies so that
Yeah.
people know so that some people know what's going on.
They're trying to establish.
I mean, not everybody knows what's going on, but some
because I
people-
missed it. I thought it was just a random guy, but it was her brother. And he was like, stop doing that. He doesn't like how much she does magic. He gives her a hard time. And she mentions this other character named Paul. This is the third time Paul has parked in my spot. And so it kind of sets up this not adversarial kind of relationship, but they kind of insinuate that she's got this problem with a guy named Paul. And so we're like, oh, okay, let's see who Paul is.
Right.
So
we get into the
Continue.
TV station. We talked
Yes.
about the scene where she moved the car for way longer than the scene went on.
it was like 2 seconds. And that's when we're first introduced to the laugh track also.
Yeah, the laugh track is kind of meh. You know what I mean? Like, people are not that into the show. They're like, ah.
A rip over.
Oh, boy.
Okay, I'll cut down on the nose action.
Yeah.
It's a
Which
weird
is
laugh track.
weird
Yeah.
because it's a laugh track.
Yeah. It's weird.
like even the laugh track people.
Yeah, they're pretty unenthused.
Okay, anyway. So she's at work. She goes into the building.
Right. She's in the building. She's talking
Yes.
with her boss.
Yes.
And we find out that somebody is not going to make an appointment for an interview with Paul. I don't know his last name.
Henry Kissinger?
No,
Where's
Henry
that at?
Kissinger is not going to make the interview with Paul. What's Paul's last name? Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't. It literally doesn't matter.
It's just TV host Paul.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And he's kind of he's like a prima donna. He's very high maintenance.
Right.
He has his own office, and there's a picture of him on each side of the door. He's very vain.
Yeah.
And he's very vain.
I
He's
mean,
very shallow.
He's just a jerk.
Yeah, and he's
I
he's
mean,
a jerk. I
that's-
did not like his character
That's his
at all.
number one quality, is that he's an irredeemable jerk.
Yes, absolutely. He's a jerk. They're trying to figure out who.
Who they can set up for this interview
Yes.
since Kissinger is out.
Yes.
They've got this guy that wrote a book on climate change. Is it about climate change?
It's about fossil fuels and global warming.
It's about global warming.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing.
Well, they didn't call it climate change in the 70s.
Yeah.
It was,
And fossil fuels were just still dinosaurs. So
yeah. so that's where we are. So Tabitha suggests this intellectual who wrote a book, and Paul thinks it sounds really boring. He doesn't want to interview him. The interaction between Tabitha and Paul is clearly Paul is a shallow jerk and Tabitha is more intellectual.
yeah. So Tabitha talks to this book guy, and he talks about, and she's real interested and really wants him on the show. We cut to Tabitha in her home, talking with her brother Adam, and she is going on a date with Barry Van Dyke.
Roger.
Yeah,
She's getting ready for a date.
getting ready for a date.
Yeah.
And her aunt shows up. Aunt
Minerva.
Who's totally into being a witch.
Yeah, she loves doing magic.
And also wants Tabitha into doing magic and not being a normal non-magic. This goes back and forth for a little while, and then Roger shows up for their date. They're going to a basketball game.
Yes.
Roger shows up for their basketball game, and he's a jerk. He's upset that she's not ready yet.
Yeah.
I mean, but to be fair, if they're going to make the basketball game, she should be ready, but he doesn't have to act like such a jerk about it.
Yeah.
She tells him she actually wants to skip the basketball game so she can read this book about this climate change guy. Mm-hmm. And he's upset, but he leaves without her anyways.
Yes.
As he's leaving, Aunt Minerva puts a message on his watch that says,
Get lost.
Get lost. Yeah. It was really ugly. It's just kind of like a freeze frame, and they kind of put a overlay over it. Yeah, it was awful special effects.
70s special effects.
Yeah.
And it wasn't funny.
Yeah, it was supposed to be funny. It was not funny.
Funny.
Yeah.
It wasn't funny.
Not funny. I feel like that was the first time they tried to make a real joke on the show.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
And
it was like, this is a joke. We're going to be funny right now. So here's the joke.
Tanked for me.
Yeah, no, it wasn't funny, and it was poor. It felt like it was poorly timed. Roger leaves. Cuts to the next day or whatever at work, and the author is there, and Tabitha is there, and her boss comes in and welcomes him, whatever. And then Paul enters, and he decides he would like to interview this woman who's hanging on his arm because she is like a previous...
I think she's a beauty pageant winner?
Yeah, like a previous Miss Universe or something.
I don't remember what pageant she won. I just know that she's a beauty pageant
She was like
winner.
a beauty queen, right? Like literally like a pageant queen, right?
Yeah.
And he is like...
That's who he wants to interview instead.
Yeah, that's who he wants to interview instead. And so there's this, this argument, and then her boss totally folds because Paul was like, I'm going to interview her or I'm walking. And so the boss folds, and so she doesn't get her way. So she's kind of irritated. And then she concocts this plan. And when she's at home, she's not getting ready. She's like almost ready for a date with Roger. She's talking to her brother, and Minerva shows up again. And then they're supposed to go to a musical. They're supposed to go see Chorus Line, and Roger shows up early.
Right.
Roger shows up early. He's too early. She had planned to go to talk to Paul like before their date for some reason. I don't know. They didn't really explain like why she was trying to like fit it in before her date.
I mean, I think
Roger.
she had enough time because Roger showed up and was like, "Oh, I said we could get a drink with some of my friends."
That's right. Yep. They were supposed to go to drinks, or
Right.
they were supposed to go to Chorus Line. He wants to go to drinks too. She's like, "Hey, I got to go do this thing for work. You're early, blah, blah, blah." And then
Minerva freezes him in place.
Yeah.
And Adam starts freaking out like he's never seen somebody frozen in place, but I'm sure Bewitched froze people in place all the time.
Samantha did that constantly.
Yeah. That's like one of the things I remember from the show.
Yeah.
Anyways, doesn't matter. It's not a good show. Don't try and make it like it's good.
Yeah.
Tabitha goes to see Paul at his apartment, and as soon as she gets there, Paul is like all over her.
Yes.
I don't know if he molests her, but he's definitely, I mean, that's for a judge to decide. He's definitely made me uncomfortable.
He's so pushy.
I don't want to be him being on top of me like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what happens is that Tabitha wants to talk to him about who he's supposed to interview. Mm-hmm. He says, yeah, we can talk about it. But they don't actually talk about it. He just keeps making drinks and putting on music and like crawling on her.
Yeah, flirting, like mercilessly, like flirting, flinging himself at her.
Right.
And
but to be fair, she doesn't seem as disinterested as she should be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's not like repulsed.
More disinterested.
She was not like repulsed at all, or like, you need to stop. Like, she never said, no, you need to stop. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
She never said that.
And she only used her powers to like mess up the things that he was trying to do as far as like drinks and music. She didn't use her powers to like, hey, stop pawing on me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I thought was weird.
That was interesting.
Anyways.
Yeah. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. They're at Paul's apartment and Tabitha wants to go, so she cuts the lights, right? And then Paul's like, we got to get out of here, right?
No. Not because she wants to go.
What does she cut the lights?
She keeps making all of his electrical, whatever it functions with electricity that he's trying to use, she makes it malfunction because she's trying to make the point that fuel is finite and power is finite, and so it could run out. And so she's trying to make the point that having this intellectual fossil fuel guy on the show would be way more interesting than the beauty queen. Like, that's the point that she's trying to make. Like, she's making everything go wrong on him so that he feels the pain of not having power and electricity.
So he instantly decides he wants to interview the
author,
opposed to the beauty pageant winner. And that's a win for Tabitha.
Yep.
And is that how the show ends? How does it end?
So he ends up interviewing the author, and then Tabitha and Adam had forgotten that Roger is in Tabitha's apartment, frozen.
Right.
And so the episode ends with Tabitha unfreezing Roger and making him think that he's like sick. I don't know if him being cold was a side effect of being frozen or if she was just like, you think you're sick. Like, I don't know.
Here's what I think.
Okay.
And this is crazy.
Because I don't know.
This is crazy.
I don't understand what's going on there.
He was frozen in place. Mm-hmm. So I think somebody made the leap that if you're frozen in place, obviously you're frozen because you're cold. You're frozen in place.
Frozen like ice.
Yeah.
Okay. So
he wasn't just stopped.
He was actually like frozen.
Frozen. Yeah.
Oh.
That's crazy.
That's just poor writing.
That's insane.
That's bad. Yeah.
So as soon as she unfreezes,
I was so confused.
Unfreezes him. He's shivering like,
He's like,
I'm so cold. I gotta go home before I catch something.
I was so confused. I was like, oh, she made him think that he was sick so that he would just go home and get out of her hair. But I think you're right. Yeah. They did it because what the fuck? Seriously, what the hell?
I don't know.
It made no sense whatsoever. Yeah, I was so lost during that scene. I was like, why is he suddenly sick? Oh, is she making him think he was sick? Why would she do that? Like, it was just bizarre.
That's crazy.
And then it ends.
Yeah, he leaves and the show ends. And that's where the show ends. That's
where it ends.
That's the show.
It's not a good show.
No, that's why it's not a classic.
It's not a classic. It is not Bewitched.
There's probably a million shows that came out in the 1970s that we have never heard of, don't have any memory of, and they're just there, like gone forever because they weren't good. They didn't stand the test of time.
Yeah, they're like throwaway shows.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's a bunch of them. This show, I would never watch this show.
No, I'm not going to watch.
The first
this
episode was terrible.
Again. I'm not going to watch more episodes. You can watch this show. We watched it on Crackle. And I wouldn't recommend Crackle. There were a lot of ads.
So many
and they were
ads.
long.
Yeah, like a lot of ads for like a really it was like a 20-minute show.
Yeah. And a lot of ads.
So many ads.
I can't recommend Tabitha. I can't recommend Crackle.
We did not have a positive viewing experience all around.
It's also on Fubo TV, but nobody has Fubo TV, so good luck with that. Do you think they could make a remake of Bewitched, or do you think it's too beloved? It's been such a long time.
I think it is too much of a classic to remake. Also, I looked this up. The woman who plays Tabitha is not the little girl from the show.
Who cares?
So, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It's not even the same person.
God.
Okay. Anyways.
Nobody cares. Do we rate these with
No, we don't rate these. We just say recommend or don't recommend.
Don't recommend.
Don't recommend.
Yeah.
No recommendation.
It was forgotten by time and it should have stayed that way.
There's a reason why it was buried.
Yeah.
Under the sands of time.
Yeah. I don't have anything else.
Till we dug it up.
Anything else to say about it?
I don't either. I think you can take us out.
Thanks for watching, Internet. You can follow the show on Twitter at What Else Show. We're also on Instagram at The What Else Show. Please like, subscribe, and share on YouTube. And that's it. Bye, Internet.
Bye, Internet.
I'm going to sit back here like I'm mad at you.
Okay.